Okay, question 2D. When factored completely, and it gives you the expression, what could it be? So to factoring completely means factor twice. Okay, you have to remember the factoring techniques. So in the order that we learned them, we learned GCF first, and then there was dots, difference of two squares, and then choice 3. Number 3 was called trinomial method. Kind of sloppy, so trinomial. Okay, so factor completely means factor twice. The first factoring technique that you always use is GCF. Always. Ask if you can do it. GCF is what's the most I can take out of each piece? Is there a number they all have in common, or is there a letter they all have in common? Now, if you look here at the 4 choices, they've already factored out the GCF. It's the guy that's not in the parentheses. Choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, choice 4. If you look out front, they all have negative x. So we're going to actually do that and factor out a negative x because they all have that in common. That's the greatest common factor. So I'm going to do down here in this space is I'm going to rewrite negative x cubed plus 10x squared plus 24x. Just rewrote it. I'm going to factor out negative x because that's what they did to begin this problem. So negative x and one big set of parentheses. So we're going to divide all 3 pieces by negative x, or take out a negative x. So negative x cubed, take out a negative x, is going to leave it as positive x squared. Remember, this x has an invisible 1. So I have 3 x's, I'm taking out 1 x, I'm left with 2 x's. And the sign's going to flip because I'm taking out a negative as well. Positive 10x, if I'm taking out negative, it's going to become a negative 10. The 10 shouldn't change at all. X squared, I have 2 x's, I'm taking out 1x, so I'm left with 1x. And then positive 24 would become negative 24. I have 1x, I'm taking out 1x, I'm left with no x's. So that's reflected here as just plain 24. If you distribute that quickly in your head, you should get the original expression because factoring is the opposite of distributing. Okay. Then if you look at the 4 choices, what they did was they factored again. So we factored twice. We GCF'd, we did it. Now this has 3 pieces. Is this going to be a dots to finish it or a trinomial factoring? Hint, it's got 3 pieces, so it's got to be trinomial. Trinomial means 3, right? So to factor with trinomial, we bring down our negative x and we draw 4 parentheses. 1, 2, 3, 4. X squared would become x and x. That's pretty automatic. So trinomial is the number game. AM, right? 2 numbers that multiply to give me negative 24, but add to give me positive 10. Now it's cool, or negative 10, excuse me. If you look at the 4 choices, you just have to try them out, right? Multiplies to negative 24, adds to negative 10. Look at the first choice, right? Plus 4, negative 6. Positive 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. Good. Positive 4 plus negative 6, though. 4 plus negative 6. They add to give me negative 2. I need them to add to give me negative 10. Choice 1 is gone. Remember, both conditions have to work. Multiplies to negative 24, adds to negative 10. Negative 4 times negative 6, well, what's a negative times a negative? It's a positive, right? I need negative 24. Choice 2 is gone. Just a game. Choice 3, positive 2 times negative 12, that's negative 24. Positive 2 plus negative 12, does that add to give me negative 10? Let's see. Positive 2 plus negative 12. It does give me negative 10. So it works for both conditions. So the answer is probably sort of likely going to be choice 3, but let's check choice 4 quickly to make sure. Negative 2 times positive 12 is negative 24. It does check that box, and then we try negative 2 plus 12. We add them to see if that gives us our negative 10. I have positive 10. That is not the same as negative 10. They are different numbers, so the answer has to be for sure choice 3. And then if you were to factor it down here, if you were just working it out with the pencil, you could have done, negative 12, positive 2. Doesn't matter on the order. Up there they have it flipped. That's fine. There's the answer.